Hello, everyone. My name is Gabriela Carcache, and I'm the overall director at Roarthon at Florida International University.
And my name is Alexander Ramos, and I am the Dance Relations Director at Roarthon.
For today's session, we are going to be diving into teaching participants how to fundraise. So, this is just a quick glance about the topics that we'll be discussing for today's session. We'll discuss the importance of early education, and then we'll talk about internal and external strategies. All right, just to do a little small icebreaker, I just wanted to ask by a raise of hands, who came in not knowing how to fundraise before joining a dance marathon program? All right, you can put your hands down. Now, who came in knowing how to fundraise before joining a dance marathon program? All right, so based off the statistics that I just performed in this room, I can tell that the majority of people come in not knowing how to fundraise. So, why do we expect them to be experts? Why do we tell them to join our program and just tell them to go fundraise on their own? That is one of the biggest struggles that our team had at the start of the year. So, this is kind of how we introduced the early education process for our team. At the start of the year, we had our committee retreat, which is kind of like our internal retreat day. And throughout the day, we basically talked about these four main foundation that you basically need for your program to prosper and know how to fundraise. For one, it's figuring out their why. I think it's very important, and you'll hear it throughout Ignite, so I'm not going to dive into it so deeply, but your why goes into telling your story for a donor drive page, into your message, and that leads into my next point, which is the elevator pitch. We taught them how to pitch someone to donate to their donor drive pages. And then we also discussed the history of CMNH. A lot of them didn't know the background and how the program began. And then we also dove into our own program and how we began and how far we've come since then. And the last little bit is we also taught them how to table. Not only is tabling very good for recruiting participants for the program, but it's also vital when it comes to doing like a bake sale or a thrift shop, which we actually held those events throughout this year. And we had like our marathon team and our finance team do these various events, and they obviously need to pitch a very good elevator pitch so people can fundraise, they can donate to their page um, based off what we're tabling for. So, just to take a little step further into the internal strategies, I wanted to start off by noting this, and it's going to sound a little bit weird, but we encourage people to fail. We told them to hear the word no. Participants will feel very defeated. They feel like they want to give up after hearing so many no's, after asking so many of their donors for money. But hearing a no definitely gets you one step closer to hearing that potential yes. And just to give you an example within our team, every week, we met as a committee, and every now and then we will show a miracle child story, and then we will share with them a message template that they can ask 10 of their peers to donate to their fundraising pages. And based off our internal statistic that we did with our team, 3 out of 10 of those actually donated to their page. And it's one thing to say that three is way better than zero. So we highly recommend just letting your people know that it's okay to hear the word no. Like there's potential to hear more people saying yes to donating to their pages. And then my next point is to make fundraising fun. Some people feel like it might be a chore, and that's not what we're trying to do here. We're doing it for a good cause, so might as well make it fun. So there's a couple ways that we try to integrate some fun ideas with our team, and one of them being that every week when we met for our committee time, we announce a moneymaker of the week. Basically, it's just the person that raised the most throughout the week, and they got like a gold chain with a food voucher. Now, I believe that it wasn't just the food voucher or the chain that enticed them to fundraise that much, but I feel like it's the recognition that they got every week because they fundraised the most is what was important. People got very competitive with it, so trying to figure out how you can be very creative with your team also creates a really good bonding exercise. Um, and then that leads me to my next point that at the end of the year, we were so grateful that the office that we fall under, which is the Center for Leadership and Service, incentivized a trip to Universal Orlando if our members hit their committee fundraising goal, which is 400 for us. So we had people like 3 to 2 weeks leading up to our main event actually hit their goals and got to go to Universal Orlando. And we were a big team. We were like about 35 members, and I would say like about 75, 80% of them actually got to go. So I know it doesn't really apply to everyone in their room since not everyone has the privilege of living in Florida or in California, but definitely think about some fun way to incentivize your team at the end of the year for sure. And my last little point here for internal strategies is using your network. I cannot count how many times that a bunch of our committee members, while they were trying to fit in their goal for the, last 2, 3 weeks before a main event, actually asked their parents and they hit their goal. They waited to the very last minute but since the start of the year, we told them, ask your parents, ask your close friends, you never know who actually might donate to you. And this is just a chart that was provided by CMNH themselves, and I kind of expanded on it just a tiny bit. But some other individuals that you can ask for donations can definitely be your employer. It can be your coworkers, your hairstylist, your nail artist. If you're a part of a dance team, then you can ask your dance teacher, you can ask your dance group and whoever it is, but definitely use your network. It's such a huge thing, and emphasize this to your team at the very start because they're gonna probably go and rummage through their last minute donors at the very end, when your main event is about to start. So definitely emphasize this point for your team at the start of the year. Now I'm gonna hand it off to Alex to talk about the external strategies.
So when coming up with external strategies, a good way that I come to summarize it is Oprah. Reason being Oprah is because you have to give everything away. Everyone gets a car, everyone gets a TV. You have to give them all the resources and all the things to your participants so that they are perfect and that they have everything that they need to succeed. So the beginning of Oprah starts with outreach, P stands for plan, R resources, A activities, and H hooray. So if we can move on. For outreach, we first visited all the organizations. We had a lot of organizations that came back from last year, but we also reached out to new organizations. And for each one of them, we had a different strategies. For old organizations, we gave them all the information that we give to new organizations about what Dance Marathon is, the purpose, the impact. And on top of that, we also found this on the Dance Marathon website that we can give them we basically highlighted them for all the impact that they've done in the past. So we thanked them for how many people signed up last year. We gave some shout outs and we showed them how truly impactful they are. On the screen, you have FIMU and how we honored them. We got the hospital to give us allow some miracle families to come. And we basically told FIMU for all the hard work you've done. You guys are the sponsor family for Barbie here, so you can talk to her, give her a present, do all this stuff for thank you for all the hard work you guys have done. For newer teams, we showed them this impact and we showed them how amazing the things that other teams have done and how much impact they can also achieve. Next one. Now, From the beginning, as soon as we did the outreach, we signed up our teams. The first thing we set up is communication because, like it says here, communication is key. All the team members, all the team captains, everyone in the teams always had direct line of contact to all of us. If they had any questions, if they needed help with anything, I was always contacting them. They was always contacting me. Hey, Alex, this thing is not working. What can I do? I helped them out immediately to try and fix the issue, or they needed some advice for this stuff. We helped them. They had our email, our phone number, or they can visit us in our office, like Gabby mentioned, our Center for Leadership Service. Our advisor is there. They can always visit them, and sometimes we're in the office if we can help them. So an open line of communication is very important to help maintain the team succeed. Then we set up a plan for each one of them. Now, each plan was different based on the organizations. Some teams are much bigger than others, but other teams are smaller, but they both can have a large impact. We set up SMART goals with each team because we recognize that not all teams have the same strategies, the same resources. So we utilize the resources and made them powerful. So one example of this is FIMU. FIMU is a bigger team, and they raise money for Nicholas Children's Hospital, which is our CMNH hospital. So we told them, I sat down with them. We talked about how many team members they can sign up, and then that went with or membership recruitment. We had 75 of our organization recruited. Then we talked about what their goal was. Each person's goal was $125. That's our minimum to be at our main event. We said that we wanted 75% of the whole team to reach that goal. And then we had a bigger pool of the whole team goal. The whole team had to raise this certain amount of money, and because of the amount of communication we had, the amount of things we gave them, they exceeded that goal and raised even more than we expected them to. In contrast, Friday had a smaller team. Friday has 9 people only. With those 9 people, each one of them hit their goals. They exceeded this expectation that I had for them, that we both set up. They raised over $300 each person. They also raised money for Nicholas Children's Hospital, so we also put that to our advantage. But they exceeded our goals, and it doesn't matter if your teams are smaller or bigger, making sure that you sit down with each team and talk with them and make sure that you both are on the same page really helps a lot. Next page. Now, one of the most important things to teach those teams is the elevator pitch, like we mentioned. Not so much for external, also for internal. And elevator pitches are different for what you're using them for. There can be elevator pitches to recruit people for your team, and there can also be elevator pitches to fundraise. Um, so for recruitment, what you would do is an introduction, a background, and activities, impact, and call to action. For example, for introduction, you'll just mention, "Hi, do you know what marathon or dance marathon is?" And then the person will reply, and then you'll give them background on what dance marathon is. Oh, dance marathon is a year-long fundraiser that raises money for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. Then you talk about the activities you do throughout the year. We host different activities like our Roarthon Champion or Pirate President that I'll talk about later, and then the impact that you guys leave. So some impact that we raise money for the kids here to help with their et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then a call to action. Would you like to join our team? This is a very basic recruitment template. For fundraising, it's a little bit smarter. For fundraising, you wouldn't really mention the activities because for activities, it's more getting people to want to join and participate in those activities. For fundraising, you just want them to donate to your donor drive or buy something that you have on your table. So you do the introduction, a background, the impact that their donation will have, and then again, a call to action. Would you like to donate? It doesn't have to be $25, it can be $5, it can be a dollar. You can tell them any small amount that they donate will make a big impact. Thank you. Next page. Then we emphasize the importance of a Facebook fundraiser. This is the most underused tool that I've ever seen. Just by putting the Facebook fundraiser, people who put it receive 50% more donations than non-users. This is insane. Just by putting it, people will donate $50, and you don't, it doesn't have to be your own because most of the time, we're all Gen Z here who uses Facebook. but your mom has Facebook, your dad has Facebook, your abuela has Facebook. Connected there, and these people have seen you grown up. Your family has seen you grow up. All these people have seen you grow up, and they want to see you succeed. And they see you doing this to raise money for other people, for kids. They want to see you, and they will support you. So connected with them, they can put that their child is raising money, and people will donate. It is proven, and at this point, we need to make it into a common thing because it's really, really impactful. Now, to talk about activities. So, we hosted many different activities throughout the year. Some outreach events that we did in the beginning was our mini marathon. So, this served a double purpose. One, we wanted to see we transition our mini marathon to a different venue, but at the same time, we use it as a promotional event because it got people to know what dance marathon is. And people thought it was just we're dancing for 12 hours. That's all we do. They didn't know all the fun activities that came with it, all the amazing things in it. So this got a lot of outreach and people wanting to know more and get more involved. It's a great way to get your name out there. Other events that are already programmed are Child Health Day and our theme reveal that we host in our common area, our student center every single fall and spring. Um, Then we hosted events specifically tailored for our miracle makers to raise money. One of them being our main one in fall being the Roarathon champion. This one we have organizations have a representative run to be a Roarathon champion for the year. The Roarathon champion then gets to speak at a main event. Sometimes they present, and they overall are a morale captain for us. This year, because of our Roarathon champion raised over almost $10,000 for our Marathon Champions pageant. And over 1 week, we had 6 participants, and they all were very, very enthusiastic about doing all this. We worked with them, and we made sure that their impact was heard and that their stories were heard. And that leads me into the last slide, sorry, which is hooray. Anything that they did, not just the pageant members, Miracle Makers, team captains, your team, always, always, always thank them and tell them that their efforts do not go unnoticed. Anything they do, even the smallest things. Some people raise $1,000 while others raise $5. But you know what? That's still an impact. They still went out there, they did their job, they reached out. Some people have more connections than others, but they still did it. And when when you tell them, when you thank them for all this stuff, it motivates them to want to do more. So always make sure you do stewardship, you thank them, not only your team, but also your miracle makers, your donors. You can do this for so many things. And all of these things is contributing to kids' health. So make sure you always, always, always thank them. And with that, do you guys have any questions?
And that concludes our presentation. We just left our contact information here on the screen. Just if you guys have any more additional questions or if any questions come about later on in the year, we are both are happy to help. So thank you everyone for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much.